What is happening, people? Let's just walk through a bit of a market recap and market update for yesterday. EU didn't take anything. I took a GU buy, GU sell in the middle of the day, 1.5% gain on that. I then took an EU sell in here. I missed this buy, so I'll walk through that quickly. I then took a USDJPY sell, which 1 to 3 as well. And then the previous day, the one before yesterday, had a 1 to 5. So really good week so far. And obviously coming into the week, I'll go through what I'm kind of looking for today. So yesterday we obviously had racked off this point, taken internal liquidity where I caught a sell. And then we came into this valid point here, really good 15-minute inducement, and we are going with our bullish structure cycle here. There was a really good entry just off of 2 internal breaks of structure here. Basically take this higher where you'd get your 1 to 3, or you can target this area of supply, which gave its reaction to come to that extreme supply in there. So all this has kind of done is just confirm that the 15-minute is currently internally bearish, but that's still our retracement leg. Like I said, we've major induced and now we've come this way, but we have induced into the mitigation of our extreme here. So given what we've got, we're trying to work out if this area is a trap or not. Are we going to get something like that to take that liquidity, or are we going to just melt off of here, which we can do, which is actually more of a highly likely outlook for today, especially mixed in with GU, but GU is a bit confusing as well. So what I'm kind of looking for today on EU, nonetheless, is just this point here. All I want to see it as a trap. I'm looking for this to push price into here, into this area, and then I'm looking to sell and come and take this low. So that's all I'm looking for today on EU. Really straightforward and simple approach there. GU, more or less the same thing. We came and swept on the 4-hour. We actually swept an internal low here, but we've made direct equal lows here. So I still want to come take that out, but for today, what we've done, no 15-minute structure really to work with. We've just come into our last supply that broke through our last point. We've come into this point and now we're kind of selling off. So same as what I want on EU. We've come into this point, which is a valid point here, but I don't think it'll hold long term. I'm looking for an inducement here to then sell through this to take this liquidity where we may get that retracement. So could possibly happen, but this will be the low that I want to sell towards. And then possibly sell down further than that. You've just got to understand, because we've majorly induced somewhat into a mitigation, this can push through this point, but we are selling on every time frame. So as much as buys do make sense given from a liquidity standpoint, sells make more sense given from a structure standpoint. So we will follow the structure standpoint until we get breaks to the upside. So all I want to see, take of internal liquidity, continue to sell, and go from there. USDCAD, not really working with much. We did major induce somewhat over here, but all we've done is internally break. So until we break this high again, I will be looking for sells. Internally, what we can do, looking for sells, is come and take this internal liquidity and then sell through there. If buyers do present themselves, it'll be off this internal low here, which is more or less a supply to demand. Let's actually go see if it qualifies in our books as a supply to demand. It does. So we've had a really good inducement. We've had a really good inducement here. Multiple ways to look at this. We should come and take as a minimum this high. So all I'm looking for is this a trap to do that, or are we coming here to then sell? So they're the two options here. I don't mind actually buying off of this low here. Now we've broken internal structure here. I kind of want to see this inducement like that, or like I said, it'll work its way up, take this high, and then sell, taking that liquidity, continue with that momentum. So at least we've got something to work with on USDCAD. At least we've got some structure. I like that better than EU and GU just from that standpoint straight up. Now AU, I was looking to sell internally in here. We've come into this point here. We've now come into this area that shouldn't hold. We did sweep an internal demand, which did break a recent high. And now we've come in and actually come into this area here. I may actually look for an entry when I get off of this. This may have given one just slightly. Let me have a look what it's given us. Nothing as of yet, but I will be looking for an entry. All I'm looking for is price to push itself above this, break, and then I will set that limit, getting that movement, coming down and continuing with that bearish momentum from that area. Only problem with AU is we have a bit of conflicting movement. So we have daily induced, but that is our last 4-hour range. We've come up major induced. If this inducement holds weight, what we will get is this, followed by that, taking that low. So that lines up with EU and GU as well. but we have not confirmed that retracement yet. We have come into a valid demand in what I would call my extreme range on my 15-minute. So we've come into this point. We need to see if it holds or not. This can do that with just the 4-hour momentum. So there'll be a bit of play with AU, but I like where AU is at the moment. We've got some options. UJ, absolutely nothing we can do. We've now, like I said, come and taken this high, which we were targeting throughout the week. I did sell in here last night. I only took a 1 to 3, but it was volatile. 1 to 6, I just went to bed. So 1 to 3 was valid here. Now what I'm looking for is 15 minutes to tell me we're retracing to this demand or this demand down here. So until we get that, there's nothing we can do. Now on gold, I took this sell yesterday. I took this break even, and this one I missed. This was on New York Open. This was actually really clean. Just like I said, just missed it. Was in UJ anyway. We've now come down to demand. Now we need to see what holds. So we have had an internal break. If we break this high, it now shows we are retracing. I would say we will come through and take this point, but at the moment we're actually in this valid point off of that. So that is more likely given current momentum and what's going on. We'll actually see if there's an entry in here. We've come up, I'm off of that. Once we sell below here, I think it's actually valid to sell. So I will be watching internally to try and get an entry and go from there. Now, in terms of, that's about it. So that's what we're looking at coming today. So EU and GU, very, very bad. AU's in a good point, and gold's in a good point. So they're the two I'll be keeping on. I'll let you guys know in the Telegram what the go is. But let's finish the week off strong and go from there.